Welcome to Ultimate Bariatrics. I'm Dr. Adam Smith. I'm the founder and one of the surgeons here at Ultimate Bariatrics. I want to give you a brief tour of our practice, of who we are, where we are, why we are, and then I'll talk a little bit about myself and how I got to where I am right here to be talking to you today. So, to begin with, I will talk about myself. I grew up in a small town, Ardmore, Oklahoma. I was the youngest of 4 boys. My dad was a drilling contractor. My mother was a stay-at-home mom. She was the organist for our little church and directed the choir for our little church. So very involved in our local church, and I was always kind of a member of a team, I would think. I was active in Cub Scouts, and then I was active in Boy Scouts, eventually becoming an Eagle Scout. I went Philmont Scout Ranch multiple times, scout camping, loved the outdoors. My poor father, he had to deal with Boy Scouts for over 20 years because we had 4 boys and our ages are quite different. My oldest brothers are 12 years older than me. And so, but being a part of a team was always important to me. And that continued throughout high school. It continued out throughout college. I was very active at the University of Oklahoma on the Campus Activities Council. I was very active in my fraternity and was just, again, a member of a team. A part of something bigger than myself was always important to me. Then I went to medical school in Tulsa at the Oklahoma State University College of Osteopathic Medicine. And here again, I was the president of the Student Osteopathic Medical Association there. I was involved in student government, student activities, again, to be part of something bigger than myself. I then did my internship in Tulsa at Tulsa Regional Medical Center, and I really wasn't one of these kids that always wanted to be a surgeon. I just kind of liked everything that I did medically and was really kind of aiming towards primary care. One of my mentors lived across the street from my parents, and he was a family practitioner, but he wasn't a family practitioner like what we have now. He was, I call it a dinosaur. He did surgery, he delivered babies, he saw 50 or 60 people in the office every day, and he is just now retired in his 80s. So quite an iconic influence on my life. And I thought, well, that's what I want to do. Well, times had changed by the time I came along, so I had to choose a path, whether I wanted to do the primary care, which really suited me because I like people and like long-term relationships with people, or do I want to do surgery, which really thrilled me. The technical aspects of surgery, the disease management of surgery, and the immediate gratification or seeing the results of your action. So that drove me towards surgery. I trained down here in Fort Worth at the University of North Texas Health Science Center, completed my general surgery residency training, and I trained at a very unique period of time. When I first started, laparoscopic surgery didn't exist. We did everything open, big incisions, you know, big, large gallbladder incisions, big, large incisions for pretty much anything we did. We kept people that had hernia repairs in the hospital for several days just for an inguinal hernia, which is unheard of today. And in 1988, 89, everything changed in surgery. The first laparoscopic gallbladder was performed over in Tennessee, and it spread like wildfire. And here we can take this new technology and decrease the pain and the morbidity and mortality of a lot of the operations that were previously just tough on you. And so I was very interested in that. We had the luxury at UNT of having a sim lab and a lab where we could, as residents, work when we weren't actually working in the OR. We had an OR that was kind of a sim or a model lab where we could learn this technology safely and effectively at a much more rapid pace than people that were actually in practice. So we teamed up with several of the people that made the cameras, made the instruments, and all of that, and we kind of self-taught ourselves how to do a lot of these procedures. Towards the end of my residency, I realized, you know, there were people around the country that were doing some pretty cool stuff laparoscopically. So I literally picked up the phone and I looked up at who was doing all the publication, and there were several guys at a place called Creighton that were doing a lot of publication on laparoscopic surgery. So I called them up. I said, hey, I want to come learn from you. Well, we don't have training slots available. I said, no, I'm already done with my residency. I just want to come watch or learn or see how you do this stuff. I said, I'll take ER call. I'll do whatever you want me to do. You don't want to be paid? No, I just want to learn. And so a friend I had met during the course of my training, he was living up there. So I lived in his basement with 2 red bone hounds for a couple months and literally learned more, as much as I could, about laparoscopic surgery. I then set up practice in Oklahoma City on the south side. I practiced there for a couple years and realized that I really missed Fort Worth. And so in 1994, I relocated back to Fort Worth. I went to work for UNT. I was the residency director for general surgery, trained several wonderful surgeons who I still have great relationships with that practiced throughout the state of Texas. One of them snuck off to Arkansas, but the rest of them have pretty much stayed around here, and loved that job. But I was kind of the laparoscopic guy at UNT. And in fact, I can't prove this beyond a shadow, but as far as I know, I did the first hiatal hernia repair laparoscopically here. I did the first adrenal removal here laparoscopically. I did the first splenectomy here laparoscopically while at UNT. So I was doing all this laparoscopic surgery, and I was heavy. I was not a heavy kid. I was small. I even wrestled all the way through till junior high, and I wrestled at in 9th grade, I was still like 104 pounds or 115 pounds. And I wasn't heavy when I graduated high school, but I hit college and I started gaining weight. And by the time I had graduated college, I had gone from like 125, 130 pounds all the way to 185 pounds. And then I went to medical school. By the time I got out of medical school, I was over 200 pounds. And by the time I got out of residency, I was over 225 pounds. And by about 2000, I was 285 pounds. So a lot of you guys that are interested in bariatrics that might be looking at this right now probably have a similar story. You didn't start out and set out to be heavy, and really don't consider yourself to be heavy. It just sneaks up on you one diet at a time. I had done every diet known to man. I lost 80 pounds on Atkins diet, and it all came back. I went months just eating rice cakes and grapefruit juice. I did the craziest diets a human being could do. Meta-fast, Slim fast, all of that, all to be disappointed and to regain my weight. And I never saw myself as big. Even at 250, 260 pounds, I didn't think I thought myself, I was carrying a little extra weight, but I was lucky. My health wasn't severely affected. I had plantar fasciitis, I had reflux, I had a little bit of insulin resistance, but I didn't have to take medications. My blood pressure was starting to creep up there a little bit, my cholesterol, but I didn't have a problem. And in 2000, a guy came and called on me, and he was trying to sell me a medical device, and he had this thing in his bag. And I said, what is that? Because when you're at UNT, if you did clinical trials, you got extra money. It's like, that looks like something new. If I can get involved in this clinical trial, I get a little extra money, you know? I said, what is that? And this is a true story. The guy said, oh, that's something they put in fat people in Australia. It'll never work in America. Well, that little thing was a lap band. And I said, I want to know more about that. Well, it's not approved by the FDA in the US. You can only go to Australia or Mexico or whatever. And so I did my homework, I did my research. I was very aggressive and persistent. And prior to FDA approval, the company relented and allowed Dr. Snow, who is now a member of our team, and myself to go to Tijuana, Mexico to learn how to do a lap band. And what an experience. And I came home and I said, we need to do this. And they taught us not just the technical aspects, they taught us how important it was for a comprehensive program. Well, we were at UNT, we had all of the components we needed for a program. So I worked with the psychology people to develop a support team and an evaluation team. We had a clinical dietitian that worked with us for the nutritional side of things. And so when it got approved in 2001, we did the first lap band in Fort Worth. It was awesome, and we had great success. But then I realized, well, we're a one-trick pony. If we're gonna do this, we need to offer everything. So I went and trained. I did a mini fellowship over at UT Southwestern and learned how to do bypass. And so we offered everything that was currently available at the time. Back then, really all we had was band and bypass. And things were great. And then about 6 or 7 months into it, I got a phone call on a Friday. And nothing good ever happens on Friday afternoon if you're a surgeon. And I thought, oh gosh, and it was a guy from East Texas that we'd done a band on. And I said, what's up? What's the matter? You know, what's going on? He said, I just need to tell you, I tied my shoes for the first time in 10 years. And I couldn't. And I said, I gotta do something. This sucks. So I was afraid, but I had my band in 2002. And it changed my life. I lost nearly 100 pounds. Now, I'm getting a little older. I'm not as active as I used to be, which is my own darn fault. So I've put some of that back on, but I'm still not 285 pounds. I'm not diabetic. All I really take is vitamins. I don't take blood pressure medicine. So weight loss surgery works. Was it easy? Oh no. It's the hardest thing I ever did, and it's still the hardest thing I do every single day. But it changed my life, and I decided I'm going to do this for other people. And I stayed at UNT up until 2004 when the residency shut down. There was no reason for me to stay there anymore. And so I left at age 44 and hung out a shingle and started my practice. I was all by myself for many years. I added a person for a while, stayed with me for over 10 years, but he did vascular and bariatrics, and he left and focused on vascular surgery. I had Dr. Roberts joined us, oh gosh, going on 6 years ago, and that was awesome because youth, and he offered something else. In fact, he learned other operations that I was just starting to stick my finger in, you know, but not doing regularly. So he added another dimension to Ultimate Bariatrics. And then we brought Dr. Novak in, going on 3 years ago now, I guess. And here again, other procedures, other personality, other background, other things to offer. And now Dr. Snow, who was my competitor, joined us just over a year ago now. And so we think we've put together a good team here at Ultimate Bariatrics. We're all very, very different. We all have the same fundamental skill set. In fact, we all can do all of the bariatric operations that are out there. We have our own preferences, and you'll see that in other parts of our website. Like, as a general rule, Dr. Roberts, he likes doing the duodenal switch more than the rest of us. So since that's his thing and that's what he likes, unless someone really, really wants one of us to do it, we kind of funnel people in that general direction for him because he does more than anybody else. Me, I like it all. I do a little bit of everything, but I probably do more revisions. Why do I do more revisions? Because I've been around a long time. And so I've got thousands and thousands of patients, plus there's other of my peers that have already retired. They have thousands and thousands of patients out there that need help. So I tend to kind of seem to catch a lot more of those kind of cases. Dr. Snow is kind of, we call him the balloon king. He really likes the intragastric balloons. He probably does more of those than the rest of us, and he probably does more of those than anybody else around. And then Novak and I, we're kind of do a little of everything. Sleeve, bypass, revisions, bands, whatever it takes. So what I learned through my experience is it takes a team. It's not just about the surgery. What I learned from my experience is it's hard to admit that you need help. What I learned from my experience is you don't just need help getting to the surgery room. You need help for the rest of your life. So we have, as you will see in the rest of the website, we've tried to design a program that takes care of you from that first thought of having surgery all the way through the rest of your life. It's not just about the surgery at Ultimate Bariatrics, it's about the whole person. That was ingrained into me in medical school, that was ingrained into me during my training, and I try to live that our practice isn't just about the surgery, it's about you as an individual, unique person to help you through the rest of your life. So I hope you'll take some time to explore some of the pages of our website, learn more about the surgeons, learn more about the procedures, learn more about our aftercare programs and our support groups. And if this is a fit for you, we would love to be your home for weight loss. Welcome aboard.